Hi, this is Robert Clinky-Beard with the Commercial Landscaper Podcast. We're going to take 20 minutes to deliver some amazing content from accomplished leaders and business owners to provide you with some value to scale your business and to become a better leader and push yourself out of your comfort zone. We encourage you to like and share with everyone to spread our messages. I'm super excited to announce our new partnership with Weathermatic. For most landscape companies, irrigation is an untapped gold mine for growth and profit, but labor and process problems stand in the way. So Weathermatic has created a partnership to package mobile technology and software with proven business solutions to tackle the perennial irrigation challenges and take your operations to a whole new level. I encourage you to reach out to Weathermatic and learn more. Cheers, everyone. Hi, this is Robert Clinky-Beard with the Commercial Landscaper Podcast. Really excited today to be joined by Mike Haynes. Mike, I think I saw you at the Elevate conference down in Dallas, and I sort of grabbed you coming off the stage. Hey, join me on the podcast, and we've managed to connect. So really appreciate you joining me today.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate the opportunity.
So, Mike, just we have a bunch of listeners all around the world, and not many people know who Mike Haynes is. So maybe just talk about a little bit about your background, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. So started like most in our industry with a push-mower and a dream. So started just mowing neighbors' lawns as a middle schooler and picked up more kind of outside of our neighborhood as a high schooler. I never really loved school, so I knew that college was not something that I was passionate about. So graduated high school, was mowing about 100 lawns every week. So I had a full-time job, hired one of my best friends, and really started the business from there. 2004, 2005, the economy was pretty great. We were blessed to get connected with a builder in 2009, 2010. So kind of when the economy was going crazy, we had some really neat growth opportunities to get into home building. And Loving's really just grown from that point. So starting out just offering production, landscaping, service to the builders, then eventually getting into sod farming to solidify the supply of the sod and to control both the timeliness as well as the cost, and then sod farming expanding and opening up and beginning to sell to landscapers and now homeowners and do-it-yourselfers. I'd like to say it was all part of the strategic plan, but it's really just one opportunity that kind of led to the next. We currently have operations from South Florida up to Charlotte, North Carolina. So kind of the Southeast with farms focused in Fort Myers, Punta Gorda, Orlando, and then right outside of Charleston. So yeah, we've just been blessed with a great team that's allowed us to grow at a pretty insane rate. And yeah, that's who we are, and that's how we got here.
And just to give a sense of scale, I mean, number of employees, I mean, where are you sitting at?
Yeah, so we have the business broken out between our farming operations and then our install operations. Our farming operations, we've been able to leverage a lot of different technology, robotics. All of our harvesters are automated harvesters. So it takes what typically would be 3 or 4 people is able to do it with one person with a greater level of productivity. So our farms are staffed with a really reduced amount of team members based off of the equipment that they use. So right now we have about 7,000 acres in hard production that's under our management. And then we have contract grow arrangements for different crops where we come in and simply harvest the products. So a farm, it typically looks like 20 to maybe 40 employees, depending on what they're growing and the location. An install division is much more labor intensive. So an install division that we have that goes out and does production install would look like anywhere from probably like maybe 80 to 120 people at an install location. So farming a little less labor, more equipment. And then install is still kind of done today like it was done 5 or 10 or 20 years ago. So a little less equipment, a little bit more manpower.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, that's a tremendous growth from, back to the days when you were cutting grass and on your own, but so nice job. That's tremendous. So what drives you? I mean, I suppose you could have given up after getting your first location and just enjoyed life, but the fact that you've expanded tremendously throughout the Southeast, I mean, there must be something there that's driving you, getting you to wake up excited every single day.
Yeah, for sure. So our mission is pretty simple. We're pretty simple-minded people. It's to create a positive impact. And that's what drives us. So growth is not for the faint at heart. It's really hard. It's challenging. It's super rewarding and super fun, but it's complex and it's not an easy journey to be on. And the reason that we continue to take one step in front of the other and continue to grow and expand is because of our mission. So we believe we're put on this planet to help those in the communities that we serve. So whether that's helping the addicted or helping the refugee, whether that's helping the homeless or helping someone that just needs to figure out, maybe a clearer path with their life, our goal is to come alongside the communities that we operate in and ultimately just support them. I think that our place on this planet is to contribute to incredible nonprofits that are doing great work. So we've never been one that have felt like a creator. So we think there's plenty of nonprofits and plenty of great people that are doing the work. There's really too little people that are contributing to the work that they're doing. So we come alongside different nonprofits and our teams get engaged with them and create community, create relationship. And then ultimately our goal is just that community is a little bit better because we're there, whether it's a farm, whether it's an install division. Our goal is just simply that we're able to create a positive impact through the work that we do. So I think the mission is really what drives our team. What wakes me up in the morning is I love our team. It sounds super cheesy, but I think we've been blessed with like really, really committed people that believe in our mission. And that just energizes me in an incredible way. So when I get up in the morning, I don't get really excited about spreadsheets. I don't get really excited about financial reports. I don't get really excited about Zoom calls. I get really excited about seeing a farming leader that progresses from not being comfortable to get in front of a team to really leading a team effectively, or a junior accountant that is provided the right leadership and turns into a senior accountant. That is what energizes me personally.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think a lot of companies really struggle with, looking at their mission or maybe establishing what their why is. They just go along every single year. They hope more revenue is coming in than, going out. How do you get your employees to sort of embrace around that mission of yours? I remember back in my old company, we would try and figure out, well, what's important to us, or which charity we're going to get behind. And everybody has their different ideas because different things have affected either them or their families. So how do you get all of your team on board behind your mission?
I don't think it's a place of arrival. I mean, I think it's a journey of constantly striving to engage the team in a meaningful way so they feel like they're a part of something greater. I think as a leader, what I've learned is the more autonomy that we can give to a local operation, the greater level of kind of authenticity that's going to come through that engagement. So originally, we selected nonprofits that we served or supported financially or through different projects coming alongside them and assisting. We are now trying to really decentralize that. I think of a story that one of our farm managers shared just a couple months ago where they had engaged with a nonprofit through a corporate-led event. So through an event that was a corporate event, so something that we ask our team to participate in. But what really got me excited is he was sharing about how they all talked about how moved they were going to that specific nonprofit and how they loaded up a couple months later and went and did a service project unbeknownst to anyone in the corporate office. So to me, like, that's what success looks like. Do we have that everywhere? No. I mean, it is a journey. It's figuring out, I think, not just who do we want to serve, but how do we want to serve them? So we have locations that have a lot of hands and we have locations that don't have as many hands. So what a farm does might look different to what an install division, but the ultimate goal is just get them to feel like they're a part of something greater. And if we can make that greater, something that's local and something that maybe they participate in, we've had success with. All of our life's journey takes us on different paths. And a lot of the nonprofits that we serve might resonate with a specific team member demographic that we have, whether it's a single mother or whether it's a refugee. So I think being able to get team members engaged with where their heart is. We don't think we're living out our mission if someone's going to serve at the school because we asked them to go serve at the school. Like, we want their heart to be behind whatever the work is, because our goal is that we just create a rhythm. So we want to start what hopefully, as one of our farm leaders had shared with me, is now a cadence of them going and serving, not because we said, hey, this is a serve week, but rather because relationship was created or someone's heart was moved that, hey, there were some that spoke to me when we went and served. So I don't think that it's all figured out. I think it's a work in progress, but I think ultimately the goal is summed up easy. It's just to feel like they're a part of something greater than themselves.
No, that's awesome. I'm assuming that would help to not only attract new employees into the organization, but also help to retain them. I mean, yeah, I hear a lot of companies, they're throwing money at employees that they're thinking that's going to help them stay there for years and years. But, money's obviously not everything. So, to stand behind a company mission and some of the values sometimes proves better waiting. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I think obviously, I think from the outside, everyone sees like crazy growth and expansion and lovings in new cities and kind of all of this consistent like positive because like you don't go put a social media post about like the challenges, but the reality is with that growth is equal amount of challenges or adversity, whether it's hurricanes or thousand-year floods, whether it's expanding in the beginning days of COVID, our very first we opened in March of 2020 with our first Florida operation. Obviously, COVID creates a whirlwind of just like pure chaos in the growth. So growth is hard in and of itself. And then you add those additional elements on top of it. And I don't believe we would have team members today that we have if it weren't for people feeling connected to something more than being a landscaper or being a sod farmer. I might be wrong, but my gut says that if they didn't feel connected to loving in a way that was kind of unique outside of a job or a career, I think there's easier places to work. So I think, that connection is critical on the business side. And I think to your point, on kind of the why, like, why am I doing this? Why do I wake up early and go home late? Like, why am I doing this? I think is what drives through those seasons of chaos or growing pains, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, talk about growing pains. I mean, we talked, before this started about, there's a lot of companies out there that when you actually examine their history, Starbucks, Google, Apple, it took them, 20, 25 years to find that either that magic formula or that product. And then they suddenly had that boomerang type growth. And, they obviously went through a lot of challenges then, but a lot of people have that perception that they're now in a place where they don't have any issues. They're behind this fancy curtain that makes them look great. But and I think it's important that to say that all companies go through some type of challenges, and a lot of it's just how you handle them, how you communicate with them. What's your thoughts around that? Is that something you deal with on a day-to-day basis, a weekly basis? I mean, there must be challenges that come up all the time.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I often joke, but am 100% real when I say we often find out the right way to do it by figuring out how not to do it. So I can tell you as many examples that we've learned from touching our hand on the stove than from reading the book about how not to touch your hand on the stove. So, and I think that's part of like velocity and pace is if you want to grow fast, you have to be okay that like failure is going to be a key ingredient in your growth. What I hold myself accountable for and what I try to hold our team accountable for is let's just not fail the same way. But to think that we're not going to fail on a daily basis is absurd. I mean, it's crazy. So it's understanding that failure is a part of the process. And then it's just trying to figure out how can we systemize and put procedure and policy, and how can we put framework, foundation around these things that we learn. That way we can scale them, not in the way of touching the hand on the stove, but so we can scale it in the way that's going to best serve our team or best serve our client, best serve our bottom line, our organization, our mission, whatever it is. So yeah, so I think like to say, oh no, we got it buttoned up. I think of Starbucks, I think when they closed every single store for a day and just said like our coffee sucks. Like we've got to train these baristas. And we've had some of those moments. Like we've had those moments where it's just like time out. Like this is not what we want, what we're putting out, whether it's the quality of service or the quality of product. Hey, this grew too fast. Hey, this got out of control. We lost our attention to detail and I think as a leader, you just have to say like, hey, it's not the desired outcome, but it happens. And I think what we have to do is try to minimize how many times it happens by doing everything we can to look ahead, but you also have to recognize that sometimes you don't learn until you're in it. So I think there's a lot of people, I say it's the, paralysis by analysis that you can analyze it for a year, or you can do it in a day and fix it in a day. And in 3 days, you've done what otherwise many might take a year. So that then goes into what is your appetite for challenge. So oftentimes when I have entrepreneurs that I want to create a landscaping company in multiple states, you can do anything you want. I mean, I think I'm proof of that. I barely got out of high school. At the end of the day, I was passionate about being on the wrestling team in the FFA department, but I hated school. So I think if I can do it, it's proof that anybody can do it, but that doesn't mean that it's easy. So I think it's just a matter of what is your pain tolerance and ultimately what pace do you want to go at? And then that kind of our pace again goes back to the mission of we feel like it's our calling. So we don't really feel like us choosing whether or not we capitalize on a growth opportunity is a decision to make. Like, yes, we want to capitalize on the growth opportunities in front of us, but recognize that, failure and adversity and setback and making the wrong decisions are oftentimes going to be a part of that process.
Yeah, not like 300%. A lot of people that come on the podcast talk about some of the processes in which they helped their growth pattern. What did you use in terms of either, outside advisors or going through strategic planning? I know some people are big in scaling up or EOS. Any sort of those types of tools or outside help just to sort of help you get through some of those plateaus you probably faced or challenges you faced over the years?
I think mentors are as much to thank for where we've been able to get thus far as anyone. So for me, what I do is look at organizations that I really respect, and then I look at what's relevant in our business. So there's times that it's super relevant. Culture is super relevant. There's times that accounting is more relevant. There's times that being able to systemize something so our Big Mac tastes the same in South Florida as it does in the Carolinas. So for me, the mentors is not really restricted to like one area of the business. We have mentors that are in home building, mentors that are in the mortgage industry. We have mentors that are in the church. We have mentors that are more of a marketing area. So for us, what we do is just reach out to folks that, hey, we love some aspect, maybe everything, but always some aspect of what you're doing. And we just want to figure out, like, my hope is that we always have a posture as learners at Loving, which is there's always something to learn from somebody. So I look at a lot of what we've learned, and we have hired different consultants, which have been super helpful, but mentors that have done it and that have experienced it. And it's not in concept and theory, but it's in real life experience from our perspective has been, priceless because it's accelerated our, what we call dumb tax that we have to pay because they've already done it. So, hey, I did this and we scaled this way and we opened these locations and here's how I'll put my hand on the stove. So right. At that point, you're kind of learning from someone else's, hopefully to minimize, obviously, the learning curves, or as we call it, dumb tax you pay on your own.
No, makes sense completely. And been there myself. And that's part of the reason why I do this podcast is that, if I can get some people to make less mistakes than I did, then I've served my purpose. Yeah. Mike, we're just coming up to time here, but any other concepts or any other learnings you'd love to share with some people? There's obviously been a lot of changes in the industry, a lot of M&A activity. A lot of people are just trying to grasp what's going on with the industry. Where's the opportunities? They maybe see some headwind ahead of them in terms of the economy. Any, words of wisdom you'd love to share with just some young up-and-coming entrepreneurs who are trying to sort of navigate this. Minefield's the right word, but certainly navigate what's ahead of us.
I don't know that I would elevate it to the point of insane wisdom, but I think I just sum it up by saying you can do anything that you set your mind to anytime. So I think there is a lot of discussion around the economy, but I oftentimes remind myself that our greatest years came in the Great Recession. So it was like during that 2009, 2010, 2011. Does it make it more challenging? Of course. At the end of the day, will some fall back? Absolutely. But I think for anyone who sets their mind on something, I was raised and I believe deeply that you can do anything that you set out for. It's just going to take a lot of work and commitment. I think getting around that kind of mission of, as you say, why do I do what I do? That obviously helps, getting a team galvanized around that. But no, I think anybody can be anything they want to be in any time that they want to be it. So I think those that are looking at the economy and saying, oh, for the next 3 years, I'm not going to grow, because no, you just might have to find different ways that you grow. It might not present itself wrapped in a nice box with a bow on it on your front door, but the opportunities are still out there. So from our perspective, our goal is to continue to expand and continue to grow, to take advantage of the opportunities that we've been given. And we believe that that approach can be taken by anyone that makes the decision.
No, I agree 100%. If you get caught up with the media, the news, then you're typically going to go down that path of, the bad news. But if you're head down looking for those opportunities, I think that will usually prove you good stead. So, Mike, how do people get in touch with you if they want to learn a little bit more about you, your company, maybe some of the things you use to grow so successfully?
Yeah, so website, thelovingcompanies.com. We also have on the farming side, nextbaseside.com. And then obviously we're on social media. So I'm on LinkedIn. You can reach me there, or my email is mike.haynes@thelovingcompanies.com.
Awesome, Mike. Well, really appreciate your time today. I know you're a busy guy, but I really appreciate you taking the time out and talking to me in the audience. So thanks again, Mike.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Hopefully that was pure dead brilliant to you, and you got some great takeaways for your business or your leadership role. This is Robert Clinkybeard, and I'd love to get you and your friends to join us in a future journey. So please subscribe to the various podcast channels or visit thecommerciallandscaper.com or wilson360.com. Big thank you again to our partner Weathermatic, and I really encourage you to reach out to them and see about irrigation solutions or partnership with them. Hopefully you have a pure dead brilliant day. Cheers, everyone.